It's very difficult to grasp the full sense of scale of this thing. Oh look, baby horse. Well, good morning to you all from almost sunny Spain, northern Spain, and we're on our tour from Caen to Bilbao, although today is day 7 and day 7 is a free day, which means that we're staying at the same accommodation for 2 nights, and today is really just about having a play around in the Picos. So yeah, looking forward to that. Have no idea where we're going. Just got a rough idea of a direction to head in. I guess we'll head as far as we dare, and then we'll find our way back to our accommodation. Should be good. First stop of the day is in Riaño to get some petrol, and that means that we're going to go up over the enormous dam that's just up the road here from where we're staying. Now, the accommodation we're staying in is called the Hotel Vegalion. I'm probably saying that wrong. Vegalion. Somewhere we've stayed before. It's owned by a Russian couple. I say a Russian couple. When we stayed here 5 years ago, there was a chap, Anton, and his wife, and I got this vague memory, and I could be completely wrong here, but I have this vague memory that Anton was unwell or perhaps disabled in some way, but I just can't remember. And we haven't seen him at all. It's just his wife and their daughter, and we've not seen Anton, and I'm too scared to ask about him, just in case it's something bad. That's a dark way to start the day. Look at these mountains with the clouds just kind of sitting on top of them. Lovely. So there's a lot of dams in this valley. We saw a couple yesterday. This one is particularly spectacular, and you're going to see it in just a moment if you haven't glimpsed it already. There it is. Look at that. It's huge. The road sort of winds up and round, and then we go over the top of the dam and then through a tunnel. So we're going to take a stop here. Just have a quick look. I can remember doing this 5 years ago. Got some photos, and it is an impressive structure. And you look at the wall of the dam, and it's kind of concave. It's amazing. It's very difficult to grasp the full sense of scale of this thing. But if you look at where that water is spewing out from the dam, and look above it, there's a little balcony and there's a doorway. And that's a person-sized doorway. So that helps you to get an impression of just how enormous this thing is. And over on the far side you can see flights of stairs. There's obviously tunnels running through the dam. It is absolutely massive, and you've got these chutes down here as well. I'd love to see the water flying down there. That must be only used in emergency situations, I would have thought. An astonishing feat of engineering. You look at these points here at the top where the water could overflow. That must be quite a sight to see. I'm guessing they're making electricity from the water. And what's interesting is that because they've got dams all the way along the valley, they're probably getting lots of different stabs at it, making electricity from the same water over and over again. Thank you to gravity. Let's have a look on this side. The water is lovely and clear, and beautiful colour. That must be an incredibly deep body of water when you consider the size of the dam on the other side. It's obviously completely changed the landscape once they've put this here. It would have been interesting to see it before they did it. There's quite a curve on it as well, which makes sense, makes it a stronger structure. I love the way that we're just under the clouds, just floating along up there. I say just under, that's probably a huge distance up. Again, the sense of scale is totally skewed. If you're passing this way on your motorcycle, it's well worth a visit. Come and have a look at the dam. I'm guessing this huge door here is the run through for the 2 concrete chutes we just looked at. I guess they can open that and lower the level and control it. There must be some weight on that door. Yeah, okay, there's another one. Oh, so that's one for each chute. That's astonishing. Those chutes are wider than you think. Looking at the size of those doors, again, it's very difficult to get a sense of the scale. The water must go down there and wash onto that cliff face. Alright, onwards through the tunnel. We actually came this way last night in the opposite direction. My camera battery had died by then, so didn't get footage of this yesterday. But the tunnel's pretty good. You can see the road is heading off in that direction, but we're going into the tunnel in this direction. It's because there's a curve in it. It's not a straight tunnel. Oh, look at that. Can you see the bird? Looks like a kite. They're so pretty. Yeah, sometimes you see human engineering and it's at odds with nature and its surroundings, but I don't think that's the case here. That dam is a fantastic example of human engineering, and I think it actually adds to the spectacle of the area. I think it beautifies its environment. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure that not everyone will agree with me, but as a result of it being there, it's a phenomenal structure, a phenomenal achievement, and you've got this beautiful lake as a result. Our wildlife is thriving. You know, sometimes you see these things and they're like carbuncles on the scenery, and that's just not the case with that dam. They've done a good job there. So we still don't know where we're going today other than getting some petrol in Riaño. I would quite like to find somewhere to wash the bike though. As you could probably see, many insects have kamikazed themselves onto my windscreen, and the front of my bike is filthy. One of those jet wash facilities would be most welcome. Somehow the ride is just more enjoyable when you're riding a clean bike. Speaking of the bikes we're riding, I'm on my BMW R1250RT, and I've just noticed that it has indeed done what it did yesterday and defaulted back to road mode for the suspension. So I'm just going to change that now to dynamic. That just firms up the bike, makes it nice and agile. For such a big bike, I've had no problems hustling this around all sorts of hairpin bends and mountain passes on this trip. It's been alright. Sure, it's not a sports bike, but yeah, it's pretty good. I can't imagine I want to go much faster. And quite nice today that my luggage is empty, because we're staying in the same place for 2 nights. I've been able to empty everything out, so the bike does feel a bit lighter. Up ahead of me is my dad, who's joined me on this trip, and he's on a Honda CB1100. One of the last of the air-cooled 4-cylinder monsters. Should imagine there's quite a market for that bike now, because of course, due to the emissions regulations, Honda stopped making them. Just couldn't get them to comply. Everything's going liquid cooled now, and that means on a retro bike, or a traditional looking motorcycle I should say, you end up with a radiator on the front, which is not traditional looking at all. That's what I love about the Moto Guzzi V7 850 that I bought last year. Although clearly Moto Guzzi have had a lot of problems getting that to comply with the emissions regulations, as you will find documented on my channel. But it's all working now. I'm looking forward to riding it when we get back home, assuming the sun's out back in the UK. Certainly no guarantee of that. But yeah, it's a good looking bike because it doesn't have a huge radiator on the front, and it's just prettier. I think big radiators spoil the look. So I should think if Dad ever wanted to sell that bike, I imagine actually he would get back most of what he paid for it, because he bought that some years ago, and I know what they cost at the time, and I know what they're going for used now, and there's not a lot of difference. Motorcycles just seem to have rocketed up in price. I've been trying to resist the urge on this holiday to have a look at eBay at dirt bikes, because we're sat in a French town a few days ago and a group of guys came past on their enduros, motocross bikes, and they sounded great, they looked great, looked like they were having lots of fun, covered in dirt. I was thinking I'd like to have a go at that, which is just wishful thinking really, because I don't think there's anywhere in the UK where you can do that kind of thing. Very limited routes now for green laning because people seem to get really agitated by it. In any case, the price of the motocross bikes, I couldn't believe it. Even a fairly basic new one is $7,500. You're talking for something like a 300, maybe a 400, nothing big. And the used prices, even older machines, 20 years old, are going for $3,000. If you get anything for much less than that, well, you've either got yourself a bargain or you've got yourself a problem. I don't think I can justify it, unfortunately. That one might just have to stay on the wish list for a bit longer. Can't have everything. Just don't have time to ride them all. I'm trying to be very cautious these days about the number of hobbies I take on. I love working with video, as you can probably figure out. I love photography. Don't get much time to do that. But I've got all the kit and it kind of hangs over you like a bit of a weight. You feel like you ought to be out there doing something with it to justify it. But there are other things as well occupying my time. I love playing guitar. Love doing that. Love making guitars, tweaking them, playing with them. Like mucking about with tech. Got my motorbikes. Come the summer, we'll get the canoe out, kayak. It's just, there's too many things. Too little time to enjoy them all. I've come to the conclusion, I didn't want to get all philosophical and whatnot on the ride, but I've come to the conclusion in life that I think it doesn't really matter how much wealth you have, whether you've got a little money or a lot of money. It certainly matters if you haven't got enough, and I think that can be quite negative on your life, and it can be very negative as well if you've got too much. You kind of need that Goldilocks zone somewhere in the middle. But the most important thing to have is time. We have a limited supply of it, and the supply diminishes from the moment we're born. So don't waste it. Something I did when I started my current business is I decided I would only work 4 days a week. They were a long 4 days at the outset, but I did stick to having a day off each week to spend with the family, and being able to spend more time with my kids growing up has been amazing, having family time. And as the business grew, I was able to reduce those working hours a little bit more. I don't really have set days anymore, but I sort of spread the work I need to do across the week, but I make use of the time that I have available. And I realise that's quite a privileged position, but we offer to all of our employees the opportunity to work a 4-day week. And for any employees listening, first of all, you've got to think, could I survive on 1 day less money? So it's less money, obviously, because you're working less. But for employers, you might think, this isn't going to work, I'm not going to get enough work out of my employee. But actually what happens is you get a more productive employee for the 4 days that you have them. So you're getting more for your money, and the employee is getting a better quality of life. So they enjoy their work more because they're getting their time off. And the balance makes a huge difference. It's an extremely positive thing to do. And we've managed to do it with working remotely, with flexible working hours and everything else. It's not damaged our business in any way. Completely trust our employees to work from home. And yeah, thoroughly recommend that as an option. Right then, let's get some fuel. Well, we're all full up of petrol or gasoline, depending on which part of the world you're in. I feel this real sense of freedom today, because we don't have somewhere we got to be. Just a case of meandering around and soaking things up. And I actually must confess, I did think about not putting the cameras on today, just having a day to myself. But you just know, if I did that, I'd miss something good and I'd regret it. So I've stuck them on. I was hoping to do some drone flying today, but unfortunately, due to a slight snafu with the batteries, that's not going to happen. It takes so long to charge those drone batteries, so I just haven't been able to sort that out. Maybe get an opportunity tomorrow to do some of that. But what I have done is I've got my 360 camera ready. So if we find a nice windy road today, I'll pop that one on for a different sense of perspective. I don't do it very often, and the reason for that is it's such a pain in the bum to edit. The image, you just can't bring in 360 footage directly into DaVinci Resolve, which is the editor that I use. You have to use Insta360's own app, so you've got to kind of play it through, choose the angles you want, and then it will render a normal video out of it. There are other ways of doing it, but none that I'm going to be able to do whilst I'm on the move with my Mac. And the Insta360 app takes a long time to render that video. It's really slow. And then you've got the problem of syncing everything up. So this may interest you and it may not, but in video editing, obviously I've got two cameras running, so I've got the camera facing me so that I can have a bit of interaction with you guys. I've not been doing a lot of talking to camera because I need to look at where I'm going. I'm not familiar with these roads. When I ride in the UK, I do tend to talk to the camera a lot more because I know where I'm going. When you've got two cameras like this though, so this camera is recording audio from a microphone inside my helmet, but of course this camera that's facing me can't hear that audio, and the 360 camera, which will be behind me, won't be able to hear that audio. And the audio that it's going to hear is going to be purely wind noise. So trying to sync all of these things up can be very difficult. Ideally, you need something that you can hear and see on all cameras that allows you to sync them up. So in the past I've been clapping loudly, so loud it hurts my hands, so that you get these very clear peaks in the audio waveform. Little cow down there, several of them. And then you just line those up, so then you know the two cameras are in sync, so I can switch angle and my lips will still be in sync if you can see them, that kind of thing. The gestures that I'm making will all be synced up with what I'm saying. That's kind of important. And of course we're in the right place on the road. With the extra camera as well, that adds an extra complexity. So the way that I've been doing this so far is I just stick my glove up in view of both cameras, and I just do that, make my fingers the clapperboard. Now of course there's no sound attached to that, but I will already know that the sound is in sync because it's being recorded directly onto the camera. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought because once again there are some eagles soaring above us. Lovely. Yeah, so because the audio is being recorded directly onto the camera, that takes some of the guesswork out of the equation. Previously I used to have a separate audio recorder in my back pocket, so you have to start that recording, start each camera recording, do some clapping, and you know, what a faff. So I've tried to streamline that down. So I've got this GoPro remote control here on the handlebars, which syncs to both cameras by Bluetooth. So I can press on that and it will start both cameras, but they don't start at exactly the same time. So all I need is just that little visual cue that I can then use just to line up the two video feeds. And that's how you do it. It's not a quick process. So in order to make an episode like you're seeing, each day is using up about 200 gigabytes, and I'm recording in 2.7K, not 4K, to try and keep things lightweight. And then it takes, on top of that, probably to organise the sync clips, you're looking at another 2 hours work. Well, that's before you even start editing, so that's just to get everything organised. It's 3 hours work. The edit itself, I should imagine each episode or part of an episode is probably going to be 4 hours, at least 4 hours work. So if you work it all out, it means every episode that you watch of this tour is probably 6 hours of my time once all is said and done. But you say you get paid millions of pounds from YouTube to produce this stuff. No. No, I don't. In fact, I don't get paid at all at the moment until the channel hits 1,000 subscribers. Then I'll get paid. So my main channel, my tech channel, I don't know where we're at now with that, 36,500 subs. But that's kind of irrelevant actually, because it's the number of views you get that matters on how much you get paid. And on my tech channel, 1,000 views gets me somewhere in the region of £3 to £3.50, maybe £4 sometimes. So it's not a lot. You've got to get a lot of eyeballs on your videos before they actually pay for themselves. I mean, what price do you put on 6 hours of someone's time? So I make the videos because I love making videos and I love sharing content, and I find it incredibly rewarding when people watch the content, enjoy it, find it useful, make a comment, subscribe, express appreciation. I read every comment, even the rude ones. It's a creative outlet. I think that's the correct term. Anyway, I suspect you didn't tune in to hear me waffle about YouTube and life's philosophies and working time and all of that kind of stuff. I expect you tuned in to see some phenomenal scenery via motorcycle. So please, let me shut up and deliver you some phenomenal scenery. Enjoy the ride, folks. So we're just coming into the national park, the Picos de Europa. Pretty amazing mountain range, some amazing roads and beautiful scenery, much like all the mountain ranges we've been to. Let's just stop and take a quick look. Very nice. Whoa, that was fun. This road surface isn't very good. I think the front wheel just went into a bit of a ditch. Not the best feeling in the world. I do need to be slightly careful because there's quite a bit of dampness under the trees here. That and the road surface and loose gravel and oh dear, all sorts. I think we got spoiled with the super smooth roads in the Pyrenees. Well, this is stunning. That was a very tiny tunnel. I love the 2 lanes they painted through it. There's totally not enough room. So it was stopping again. That was quite the viewpoint. Absolutely astonishing beauty. I keep saying the same thing over and over again on this tour, but I'm just blown away by how pretty this scenery is. People who live in the north of Spain, you're very lucky. Anyway, let's carry on with the descent. Oh look, baby horse. Come on. So cute. It's that time of year, isn't it? I usually head up onto Dartmoor in the UK where they have wild ponies. There's always babies around. Well, I just took another little break. So many pretty things to see, and I guess seeing as we don't have to be anywhere at any time, we can actually stop and enjoy it. This road is not really suitable. I stood there and we could hear rocks falling. Be a bit of a disaster if you got struck by one. I haven't seen any on the road though. I think they've done a reasonable job of netting it all up. The road is really not in very good condition. Obviously the snow and the ice that they get up here will destroy the road surface. This one's obviously in need of being redone. So I've been talking about things that I like and I don't like about this BMW R1250RT as we've been going around the journey. Something I don't like about this bike is the tyres and just the general weight of it. When you go over stones on the road, you really feel it and it spits them out, and it's quite unnerving actually. We've got some goats. Hello. Super cute. Okay, we're going to stop and get some refreshment, and I'm probably going to put the camera away for this afternoon, so I'll call that an end to the episode here. Thank you very much for joining me on the ride. please tune in again for the next episode when we're going to be heading towards Bilbao, getting ready to get on the boat. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so and ring that bell so that you'll be notified of new episodes. I'm very grateful for all of your support. Thank you very much. See you again next time, CG Rides.